Welcome to Bay Bite, a quick video series highlighting the tools and features inside of Bay, which is Coldwell Banker Crown Realtors contact and transaction management system. To get started, go to mycbcrown.com. You can see it right up here and log in to follow along. Okay, let's get started. The first thing that we want to talk about is how to put your contacts into Bay. Most agents have some kind of system, some kind of follow-up system with their contacts. Bay is designed to make that incredibly easy for you, but the first thing you have to do is put your contacts in the Bay. So I'm going to show you quick how to do that. When you first log into Bay, you'll be on your dashboard, and I'm using our training account here. So none of the information that you'll see here is actual people. These are all fake people. But if you go over here to the left-hand menu and you go to contacts, you'll be able to see all of your contacts that you've put into the system. Now, the staff will put in your contacts into the system when you turn in an accepted purchase agreement or a listing contract, which is why it's important that we have that information from you so that we can put it in. You will see these people in here, so you should already have people here. You will also get leads in here. So this is where when you get the text messages or emails from the lead generation things that we do, this is where those leads go and where you should keep track of them. And Brandon would love it if everyone could update the statuses of those leads, particularly the leads from the company. We should take a little bit of a sidebar here. A lot of agents have an issue with putting in their contacts, their sphere of influence into a contact management system that's owned by the company that you're with. Because what if you change companies? And well, I don't want any of you to change companies. I think that we are the best one out there to help you build your business. I do want to let you know that there is a difference in this system between contacts that you enter in and leads. If you ever decide to leave the company, once your account is deactivated in our Back at You system, your contacts that you have manually put into the system will go away. Now, those that are attached to transactions, we will still have their information on those transactions, but we won't have a contact block for them within the contact system. Any leads that you get from the company that are in this system, those will stay with the company. So your contacts that you manually enter don't stay in here. So you don't have to worry about us trying to steal your clients if you decide to leave the company. However, I know none of you are going to leave the company, so that's not a problem. When you go into your contacts, this is super easy, guys. Create contact right up here in the top right, create your contact, and it's going to give you a little pop-up box. Now, the only things that are required is the first name and the last name. Um, so we're going to put fake name Sally Smith in here. You can put in what kind of deal type they are, whether or not they're a buyer or a seller, or maybe they're both, or you can just skip it if you're not quite sure yet. And then put in their email address. I know that first and last name is the only thing that's required, but putting in contact information into your contact management system will be incredibly helpful down the line when you forgot to enter them in your phone or you've lost their email somewhere, right? Um, so we're going to put in a fake email address here and a fake phone number. And then you can see that the owner is the training account or training account, and then it's assigned to the training account. For those of you who are in teams, you can set up your contact system to share with your team, but that's a different video. We're not going to go into to that. If you want to know more about that, let me know. Then you click create. Now, because I want to make these a quick videos, I'm not going to deep dive into any of this stuff, but just know that you can add any information into this system. If they set up a portal account, it will track their activity within that portal account. And if you set them up on campaigns or action plans, it will also track that activity and show you that here. So that's really fun. Okay. On the left-hand side, you'll see your user information or the contact information. If you ever want to edit it, you can just click this little button here and you can edit all of this information. One of the nice things that I really like about Back at You is that it gives you a source option so that you can put in here that I got this lead from an open house, right? You can also change their statuses, put their other emails in there if you have an address for them, date of birth, all of that stuff. Okay. Now, it also, below that is tags. You can add tags to your contacts to determine who they are, right? Are they first-time home buyers? Are they an investor? Do they want a particular lake? And you can add tags, manage your tags, choose your own tags, all that stuff right here. Okay. There's also an option to put in more information if you want to do that, to have your contact management system really robust. You can also make your own custom fields if there's something specific, like some of you give away pies in November. If you know that this person likes apple pie and not pumpkin pie, or maybe is allergic to nuts or something, you can put those things right in here. And then there are other reports that you can pull that will show those things. Okay. Now, I love this piece. Smart data by full contact. Now, because we put in a fake email address, fake phone number, it's not going to show anything. But when you put in your contacts and you put in an email address, the system goes and finds all of their public, not private, public information and will show you all of those things. And so it'll show you a bunch of different history about them, um, which can sometimes be interesting in a conversation or important later for follow-ups. It's a really cool feature that you don't have to do anything with. The system does it itself. Okay. Now, on the right-hand side here, you'll see these buttons on top. There's your activity. This is where you're actually going to log whatever activity you have with this person. You can add notes right up here and always click save. Okay. And then the notes will show up. Test. Once you click save, they'll show up right over here. Okay. You can add specific tasks to your contacts. Now, I used this religiously because how many people do you talk to are like, yeah, I want to wait till after tax season to see what my tax refund is before I decide to buy a home this year, right? Well, that's April 15th is a couple months away, right? How am I going to make sure that I'm going to remember to follow up with the 18 different people who have told me this same thing? Creating a task is the way to do that. And these tasks not only show up in the contact, but also show up on the dashboard when you log in. So if you want one place to handle all your stuff and all your follow-ups, Bay is the place to do that. Okay. So you put in for a task, you put in a title, right? Follow up about buying this season. Okay. You can choose a type. So we haven't talked about any of this stuff yet, but you can set them up on an automatic campaign. The system will send an automatic email for you if you tell it what email it wants to send, or it'll send a survey depending on what's happening. Okay. We don't want to do any of that. We just want to follow up. We're going to say call them. And then you set a due date of whenever that is, as well as a time. And again, this is for um, teams, right? You can assign who that task is to if you're in a team. Okay. But most everybody's going to be assigned to yourself, the assigned agent, right? And then when you click save, it shows up in this tasks button. And I'm going to go back to the dashboard real quick to show you that it should also show up right here. Then when you're done with that, you're like, oh, I get into Bay, I open North Star, I check what's on the market, and oh, look, I got to call Sally Smith. Let's go ahead and call her. When you mark it as completed right here, it will ask you, what did you do? Well, I called her and I got the voicemail. Um, and you click complete and you'll see that it goes away from your tasks, right? But your notes don't just go nowhere. Back in the Sally Smith, it will show you what exactly you did. Follow up with the buyer. All your activity is going to be right in here. Follow up with your buyer. Outgoing call, I called them. They didn't do anything. You want to add another task, follow up again. You just hit that button and you create another task. Now, the other thing that you can do is set them up on action plans or campaigns. So, action plans, think of action plans like a to-do list that you set yourself. You want to make sure that your clients have the same experience every time and you're doing all the touch points that you do for everybody, right? Or maybe there's somebody who is contracted with you for a higher price because they want more services than somebody else. When you set up action plans in the system, you can then assign action plans to the contacts when you put them in. Okay. And then it will automatically populate those tasks that you need to do for those people, as well as when those should be done. Okay. We'll go into action plans and campaigns and how to set those up later in one of our Bay Bites. The other thing you can do is email campaigns, right? So these are the holiday campaigns. They can be your own personal campaigns if you want to set up your own email campaign. Maybe you want to send out a weekly email that you create every week, or maybe a monthly email that you create every week about the happenings in a specific town in your market. You can add each contact to these campaigns right here. In campaigns, there's also a way to bulk add them. So if you haven't set up either one of those yet, don't worry about it. You can do that later. Just get into the system and start using it. Couple other pieces that I wanted to talk to, and then we're done because this is supposed to be short, right? In your contacts here, up on top is another menu. So this is the activity, right? This is what is showing here, all of the stuff that you're doing with that contact. You can also activate, it says listings here, but really for buyers or sellers, this is their activity. If you set them up with a portal account, this will give them a link straight to your agent website, and then you can see what listings they're saving, as well as what activity, what emails they've opened, if you have them on a campaign, what all that activity is like. Okay. You can also, if they're a seller, you can add their listing here. Okay. Now, transactions. So the contact management system and the transaction system are two separate systems, right? That's why we have to put in this information differently. But they do talk to each other with some things. One of those things is transactions. When a transaction is created by us, by staff, when you send your documents into your staff member, there we link it to your contact if you already have one. Okay. If you don't have one, we add it to the system and a transaction will show up here. And we'll go into all those things about transactions and how you can get to the things that you need to within transactions later. But it will link. Now, attachments. If you're like me and you want to keep all the pieces of paper that people have signed, whether or not you're required to or not, liability aside, you can attach files directly to your people right here. Super easy. You can upload it and put it in the system and it'll be right here. So if you ever turn in a buyer's representation contract that is not associated with a purchase agreement, this is where your staff attaches them. This is where they put them in here, so that they're attached with that specific content. Okay. Then this is the portal, property portal. So again, I talked about that property portal. A lot of us us, a lot of us set up our clients on the North Star automatic emails, but this is another option. And then you can look and see what they're doing, right? You have a better idea of what they're looking at um, on your website, and then your face is in front of them at all times, right? So just another option for your clients. Biggest piece is start simple. Just start when you call a client, especially because we're coming up on listing time. I know you're all going through your all of your notes saying, I should call this person, I should call that person. As you call them, start putting them into your system, right? Open up Bay, start going through your desk. Oh, I need to call Roger Rabbit and ask him if he's ready to, if he did those updates that he was supposed to do. And if he's ready to list his house, as you're doing it, put it in here, put your notes, add tasks, start small because this system is very robust. And hopefully, as we continue with Bay Bites, you will see all of the wonderful things that this system can do. That's all for Bay Bites for today. Hopefully, this was short enough for everybody, and I hope to see all your contacts in your system soon.